What is going on, guys? Akari5880 here, and today we have another Brave Frontier Global video. This time it's trial number 7 arc that is finally out on Global, so let's get straight on with the team composition. I brought a Grah lead with Fallacy Orb and Prize Light. We then have an Elimo with Star of Hope and Buffer Jewel, Medina with a Occult Treasure and Heresy Orb. We then have Will with Sacred Crystal and Malice Jewel equipped, and then we finally have a NemethGear with Prized Mercy and Impiety Orb. NemethGear is a pretty risky unit to be taking here. I will explain why later on. So if you have any dark units in your team, be sure to equip them with spheres such as Prize Light or Impiety Orb to negate that extra elemental damage, because Arc is a light type unit and will deal extra damage to dark type units. The friend I take here is a Trident with Celgrad Gem and Trident's Trident. And then I took 2 random units for team 2 and team 3. Luckily, I only used the one team here, which was pretty awesome. So the item setup I brought was a Hero Crystal, 2 Revive Lights, 2 Crescent Dews, and all 5 Fujins. So this trial consists of 2 battles. The first battle you will be up against Arc's 6-star form, who will summon various Oracle Knights throughout the battle. In the first 2 turns, Arc will open up with very weak attacks and then follow up with an AoE on turn 3. So use those first 2 turns to build up your Brave Burst Gorge and then use mitigation on turn 3. Try to save your Fujins here because you want to be using your Fujins later on. So like I said, Arc will summon various Oracle Knights, usually as pairs, throughout the entire first battle at different HP thresholds. So at 90% HP, Arc will summon Dion and Yura. At 70% HP, Arc will summon Balgran and Ruby. At 50% HP, Arc will then summon Renon and Medina. Each of these 6 Oracle Knights have their own abilities as well. Dion will add a crit buff to all enemy units. Yura can inflict damage over time buff to all of your units, which you can counter using a heal over time buff. Balgran will add a inflict status ailment buff to all enemy units, so expect your units to be inflicted with curses and paralysis all over the place. And Ruby can also cause attack down on your units as well. Renon will then cause negate status ailment on all enemy units, and Medina can steal Brave Burst Gorge from your units. Furthermore, if you have a Dion on your team, expect Dion and Yura to be injured. Balgran can also be inflicted with sickness and weakness, and I believe Medina can also be inflicted with weakness. So the idea here is to take Arc's HP down to 50% and then kill the Oracle Knights. The reason for this is because Arc will use a fairly strong single target attack if you kill an Oracle Knight while his HP is above 50%. Sometimes you can survive this single target attack that Arc does, but it's safer and better to just nuke all 6 Oracle Knights once Arc's HP is below 50%. Here you see me use Medina's Ultimate Brave Burst. This is to basically have mitigation up and to also increase the Brave Burst damage as well. So that way I can nuke Arc faster and nuke all the other Oracle Knights as well. You want to be trying to take down Dion as fast as possible, because Dion does add a critical buff to all the units, which will cause your units to take more damage, and you do not need that when all 6 Oracle Knights are on the field. At 30% HP and at 15% HP, Arc will possibly use an AoE attack, so make sure you have your units healed up, have your defense buffs on, and have mitigation on as you pass these thresholds. You should be very easily fine if you have that Ultimate Brave Burst mitigation on, as well as your normal mitigation on as well. And that is it for the first battle. Pretty straightforward. So in terms of the team, let me just quickly explain it. Grah is here for his to increase stats as well as prevent damage from light type units. We have Elimo as our mitigator and our cleanse status ailments, as well as giving that defense buff. We have Medina to give Brave Burst when our units are attacked. Will is here as a filler to basically increase Brave Burst damage and give that heal over time buff. Trident friend, because that leader skill is just so insane, and also his shield is very helpful for this trial as well. And then finally I brought a NemethGear as my Infinite Brave Burst unit. Now the reason why NemethGear is pretty risky is because his Infinite Brave Burst is AoE, and you may end up killing Dion or Yura accidentally before Arc's HP is below 50%. So you do need to be careful if you are using a NemethGear here. In terms of alternative units, Grah, you should really have Grah already. Elimo you can replace with Kranz. Kranz is insane for this trial. Unfortunately I don't have a Kranz yet. Adia is also a very good unit here, as well as Aaron. In terms of replacements for Medina, you can use a Diana, a Bestie, or even a Libera can work here as well. In terms of replacements for Will, Will is pretty much replaceable by any unit. Trident, you should be able to take a Trident friend, and NemethGear can be replaced with a Taser, Ogoro, or Yura. So that is Battle 1 out the way. Let's go on to Battle 2. Battle 2, you will be up against Arc's 6-star form. This is pretty straightforward, this first form, but there are two very important things that you need to be aware of. The first thing is that you must count turns. It is very crucial for you to count turns, because every 3 turns Arc will use a massive single target attack called Radiance. You can easily survive this single target attack with mitigation and your defense buff on, and every 6 turns Arc will use another single target attack, this time with a debuff, and it's called Radiant Brink. You cannot use mitigation here, guys. You need to be guarding your units every 6 turns. Another very important factor is that you cannot be using more than 5 Brave Burst, Super Brave Burst, or Ultimate Brave Burst attacks in 1 turn. So make sure you're attacking or guarding at least 1 unit every turn, or you will be facing a very strong single target attack from Arc. I did accidentally use all 6 Brave Bursts at one point, but you can actually easily survive Arc single target attack if you do accidentally use 6 Brave Burst attacks in 1 turn, but it is very, very risky. So in terms of the HP thresholds in this form, at 75% and at 70% as well, Arc will use a standard AoE attack, so just make sure you heal up and have your mitigation on, and you should be fine. And then at 50% HP, Arc will transform into his 7-star form, which he will go straight into a 100% threshold move. So be wary of that as well, and make sure you are carrying on the turn count, because the turn count does carry on between Arc's 6-star form and his 7-star form. Another thing to note is that the Radiance and Radiant Brink can be cancelled if you pass the HP threshold on a turn that overlaps with Radiant Brink or Radiance. Instead, the threshold attack will take priority over it, so that's something to consider as well. So now Arc transforms into his 7-star form. Like I said, be sure to carry on the turn count from Arc's 6-star form, and as well as that, Arc will carry on using Radiance every 3 turns and Radiant Brink every 6 turns, so remember to be guarding those units every 6 turns. Another additional thing to this form now is that Arc will sometimes have a reflect buff that can last for a turn. Be sure to look at the symbols over Arc's head. You should easily see the reflect icon on him. If you see that, be sure to either guard all your units or use or attack with all your units, and then heal lastly once the reflect damage is taken. Again, over here, do not be using more than 5 Brave Bursts, Super Brave Bursts, or Ultimate Brave Burst attacks per turn, or you will be facing Arc's single target attack, which could again potentially kill one of your units, especially if Arc is buffed with an attack buff. So the thresholds, like I said, at 100% HP, Arc will remain idle for 2 turns. That includes the turn he transforms, and then the second turn where he will guard, and then the following turn, on the 3rd turn, he will use a very strong AoE attack. So make sure you heal up your units, have your defense buffs on, and have mitigation on when you are facing that AoE attack. At 80% HP, Arc will use a strong AoE attack, so have mitigation on here. I'm not 100% sure if this AoE attack has a debuff on it, but to be safe, have mitigation on, and guard any weak units. Then at 50% HP, Arc will use a massive AoE attack which will not kill your units. It will only leave them with 1 HP. So have that in mind. If you are very close to taking him down below 50% HP, you can just use normal attacks and you'll be fine. You don't need to use mitigation on that turn. Other than that, that's it so far. This trial isn't too bad in my opinion. A lot of people found it easier than Aphrodilith. I personally found it harder than Aphrodilith. There are different team compositions you can take here. I tried to keep global exclusives on a minimum. So now we've just hit under 50% HP here. Like I said, the turn count continues. Keep counting turns, but there is one slight change now with his attack pattern, and that is that he will be using Radiant Brink twice every 6 turns. So just carry on guarding every 6 turns and you should be fine. You should be able to live through that. Make sure you do not lose turn count, because I do lose my turn count at some point here and end up losing my Trident and my will. So it's very important if you want to save your if you want to be saving your revives, you want to keep a count on turns. Just write it on paper or have a counter next to you. So the HP thresholds for Arc's 7-star form at 40% HP, Arc will use a mitigation and then follow up with a very huge AoE attack on the following turn. So the best way to actually cancel this AoE attack is to use Brave Burst, Super Brave Burst or Ultimate Brave Burst on all 6 of your units this time. So this is why I said to save your Fujins, because you may want to use your Fujins here so that you can use Brave Burst on you can use the Brave Burst on all 6 units here. So as you can see now, I use Medina's Ultimate Brave Burst here because you want to now nuke him once you pass 40% the 40% HP threshold. You want to nuke him between 30% and 0% within 3 turns ideally, because at 30% HP Arc will enter overdrive, which will give himself I believe an attack buff, a defense buff and a huge recovery buff as well. And 3 turns after entering overdrive, Arc will use a very strong AoE attack, which ideally you want to have your UBB mitigation on, you want your defense buffs on, normal mitigation on as well will help a ton, and Trident's shield buff will also help as well. Here you then see me use NemethGear's Ultimate Brave Burst attack because I want to get that damage output and basically nuke him as fast as possible, because he does hit extremely hard from this point onwards. At 10% HP, Arc will use a massive AoE attack. Again, have your UBB mitigation up or nuke him as fast as possible before he can even use this HP threshold attack. If you somehow manage to line up his 30% HP overdrive attack at 10% HP, Arc will then use his 10% HP AoE attack the following turn, like you just saw there, and luckily I survived that. And then that is it for this trial. Pretty straightforward. As long as you have the right team composition. The MVPs here in my opinion are Elimo and Tridon. Like I said, Will is pretty interchangeable. NemethGear, I hear Ura is amazing for this trial, as well as Kranz. Kranz is also amazing for this trial. Medina is really good for this trial as well. And there you go, Arc has been finished, and you get his unit for free as well. Probably one of the best free units in the game. Arc 7-star. It is a totally amazing unit. So there he is. My name is Arc. I am the knight who guards the Oracle Maiden. I'll lend you my power, brave one. Pretty awesome looking unit as well. And yep, comes as a lord. And let's see, that's his leader skill and his brave burst. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope it helped you out. Be sure to give it a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe if you haven't already. And as usual, guys, I will be sure to see you in the next one. See ya.